We have Director of National Affairs and Government Relations Ericka King with us on this edition of Farm to Frankfort. Yeah, so we're glad to have Ericka with us as kind of our resident specialist of all things Farm Bill and National Affairs. And just going to turn it over to her to give us an update about the status of the Farm Bill and how that impacts Kentucky agriculture and agriculture across the United States. Ericka?
Thanks, Kyle. So we've spent a lot of time over the past year talking about the Farm Bill, the programs within it, and why they matter to farmers. But sometimes it's better if we can have a little visual representation of that information. So the chart we have over here is prepared by our friends at American Farm Bureau, and it tracks over the past couple of decades how much money has been brought into the farms from their cash income as well as any government programs, but it also tracks the expense side of it as well. And you'll see through the middle of the chart, we have this little green line tracking their net income. And over the years, that number has remained pretty stable until most recently, you'll see a slight downturn in that. And that's showing right now we're at a place where expenses are starting to outpace income. Now, this chart has been put together by the Senate Ag Committee minority staff, and this shows total Farm Bill spending. And as you'll see, over 80% of the Farm Bill spending is actually spent on the nutrition title. That includes programs like SNAP and WIC. And then over on the right side, you'll see all of the farm programs specifically from crop insurance, commodity programs like ARC and PLC. You'll also see energy, conservation, as well as trade. Now, we know that the Farm Bill for this year has a very high number attached to it, $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years. And while that can seem like a large number, when we look at overall government spending over the next 10 years, the Farm Bill accounts for just 2.4% of all government spending. So what do you get out of that investment? Well, here we have information from the Feeding the Economy report, and you'll see the total economic impact of agriculture, both directly and indirectly, down here in the United States economy, as well as the Kentucky economy. And we know that overall in the United States, agriculture has an almost 22% impact on the economy, directly and indirectly. That means everything from your farmers as well as those involved in transportation, those who bring in the inputs that we need on the farm, as well as taking our goods to market. That includes your retailers, your grocery stores, and restaurants as well. And then in Kentucky specifically, we have almost 25% of our economy is directly or indirectly related to agriculture. So while we know there is a lot of work yet to be done on the Farm Bill, we know that that investment has to be made because of how important it is to our farmers and everyone in the country. Kyle, back to you.
Well, thanks, Ericka, for that very detailed report of how the Farm Bill impacts Kentucky agriculture. Eddie, give us a little bit of background of how the Farm Bill impacts you on your farm and our members on their farms as well in their day-to-day lives.
Sure, Kyle. You know, the Farm Bill is absolutely so important to us as farmers. Probably the one thing that we hear about the most is the crop insurance piece of it. Crop insurance is so important to our farmers that we get that in place, that we've got that assurance out there, and actually for our lenders that are out there, that they have that assurance that we can be able to put a crop out and be able to harvest a crop, and that we have the income that we need to pay back those expenses that Ericka was talking about, because expenses have absolutely gone through the roof with inflation and all the things that have happened. And now net farm income, we're good at producing a crop in this country and in the state of Kentucky, and we've seen it over time, but we're in an overproduction style right now, so we need to actually export more, which is a part of the Farm Bill. That's important trade issues also. Yeah. But we need to get those down, those oversupplies down, and then we can actually work on things that we can get more profitable, because that's what we need for our farmers. And actually, as we talk about people getting into farming, you know, if you can't make a profit, a lot of people aren't wanting to do that. But also the ARC and PLC program, we haven't used those in a while. We've been in the phase that we've been through for the last several years. But those reference prices that are actually a big piece of that, they're so important as we set that baseline for what ARC and PLC is for our farms. So we're hopeful that we can get a farm bill done. We did an extension, and we hopefully by September 30th of this year that we can get a farm bill in place, and then we have that surety as we go into next year of what we've got and what we know we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Ericka, thanks for joining us over here. And like I mentioned at the beginning, you're kind of the expert on the federal issues, where the bill's at in the process. Eddie mentioned we've already had a 1-year extension of a 5-year farm bill. Where are we currently setting at now with the status of the farm bill?
So as of right now, Chairman G.T. Thompson from the House Ag Committee has said he wants to have a markup on the farm bill by Memorial Day. And a markup just means that's where a committee sits down, they go through the bill, members of the committee have a chance to offer amendments if there's anything they think needs to be changed or included that's not there already. And while it's very feasible for them to get this done by Memorial Day, you also have to look at the much broader picture. Will the House of Representatives have time to bring this bill to the floor for the entire House to consider? And if they do, and they get it passed, how likely is it that the Senate is going to take this bill up and get it through? There's a very limited amount of time to get that done.
And then they won't agree on the same bill, so it ultimately have to end up in a conference committee as well. So still a lot of work to be done. I think what we hear a lot and see a lot is the cost associated with the farm bill, but as you just showed us, it's a very small piece of the overall budget. And when you look at the ag-specific programs, Eddie, that directly impact farmers every day on their farms, it was
0.35, I believe. I think the slide that she showed was 2.4% of the whole farm bill spending, which again, you concluded SNAP and WIC and all those other programs in there. But actually, the part that is farmers is 0.35 of 1%. So it's a small piece of the overall budget of the whole thing, but it's so important. I mean, food security for this country. A lot of things going on in the world, and I think we want a farm bill in place. And I admire Chairman Thompson for trying to get something moving here, because that's what we need. We've got to start having the conversation. I hope that he can get something done by Memorial Day. That would be great to get that done. I admire him for putting it out there and trying to get it moving, because it does take a long time to go through the whole process, as you said. Once it goes to the House Ag Committee and then to the floor and then to the Senate Ag Committee and then to the Senate and then come back together for conference. So it is a big bill. It takes a lot of time to do it, but I'm glad to see that at least we're getting some movement and some talk about it this spring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's been a priority for this organization for at least 2 years now. We have been on calls weekly with American Farm Bureau. Ericka, I know you stay in constant contact with our federal delegation and their staff. What's the process if the Farm Bill is not passed before September? Can we get another 1-year extension? What needs to happen there if a Farm Bill is not passed and updated for the next 4 years? What's kind of the process for a 1-year extension?
Right, so we ran into that issue last year. September 30th came around, we didn't have a new farm bill, so they did a 1-year extension starting in November, and that saw us through to September of this year. There's nothing stopping them from doing another 1-year extension. It doesn't have to be a full year. They could do a 6-month extension if they think that negotiations are at a point where it's not needed and they're actually going to finalize a farm bill. But I think chances are, more likely than not, we're going to end up with another extension.
Yeah, so I'll turn this to both of you. You're both experts in this matter.
Yeah, right.
What can our membership do? We're a grassroots organization. We have great policy in our policy book, in American Farm Bureau's policy book. We've really been in the nitty-gritty of the details, but what can our members do to help get this bill moving along in the process as well?
I'll let Ericka go first. She works on it day to day, and I live it. But we'll let her. We'll let her.
I mean, I'll say 100%. The most important thing is reaching out to your member of Congress. They really do listen to their constituents. I think we're very blessed in Kentucky to have a delegation on the Hill that understands agriculture. They get the importance of it, and they also listen to their constituents. It's not an easy thing to get a farm bill done, as we know. But the more constituents are reaching out to their members, making their voice heard, and speaking specifically to programs within the Farm Bill, whether it be ARC, PLC, letting them know why those specific programs are important to them, that's really one of the most important things that they could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll tag on to that, and it is that we always talk about our membership, getting to know our legislators and what they do, and our congressmen and their staff people too. Get to know those staffers too, because I know you worked in that world, and I had a lot of conversations with you over the years when you were there about Farm Bill things, when you were working in the Senate as a staffer. But that's one thing that we bring to the table here in Kentucky. We're a part of American Farm Bureau, and I think they've got staff that are in Washington working every day. And as we have our issues that you talk to them, y'all have weekly calls, I believe, with staff up there about things that are going on. So collectively, all the states can come together and all get the mission that's out there, because we do in Kentucky help set American Farm Bureau policy too. So when we bring everybody together under American Farm Bureau umbrella, that we can talk about the issues and they're there working on it, we get our voice in it. But I think that's important, and that's what brings this organization to what it is. It all comes together, and we can actually work on a farm bill that is important to everybody.
Right.
And it's different in states, and that's what the debate gets about different issues. So, but I think that's important that we're able to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And I guess this kind of serves as our call to action to our membership.
That's
to
right.
Reach out and contact your legislators. We are very fortunate to have a great federal delegation. They understand agriculture. They understand the need for a farm bill to be updated every 5 years. Now we're looking at 4 years,
Yeah.
but let's go ahead and get this thing done. We're not playing for an extension. We're absolutely trying to get this done over the next 4 years and get a good, stable, long-term farm bill in place. Thank you for all your work. Eddie, thank you for your work and the rest of the executive committee. Ericka, any final kind of closing words on the status of the farm bill or any other national affairs
Sure.
issues?
I mean, I would just say make sure you reach out to your members. If you're not sure how to get in contact with them, then contact us. I'll be happy to connect you with them. But that's really just the biggest priority right now. We want to make sure and get that across the line, because there are a number of other priorities that we're facing this year, from regulatory reform. If we want to talk about PFAS, we can talk about that, but there's a very long list of priorities that we need to tackle for our members as well.
Absolutely. Well, Ericka, thank you for joining us. Eddie, as always, it's great to do these Farm to Frankfort with you. And this was kind of a Farm to Washington, but Ericka, absolutely great job. So thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.